Everybody, today we are going to talk about making your altar. And I apologize in advance for the screaming in the background. The kids are going insane. There are a few different types of altars. Ancestral altars, for instance, have photos and mementos of family members, as well as candles and possibly incense. Wiccan altars worship gods and or goddesses, typically divided with the goddess on the left, the god on the right, and both in the middle. There are prayer altars that has the main deity and occasional candles representing the angel or lesser gods in some cases. Think of, say, a Catholic altar, Catholic prayer altar. That sort of a thing. There are spell altars that are purely used for intentions. Typically they have the tools and the candles to do a daily intention ritual of some sort, which can change depending on what the intention or, so to speak, need is. There are I apologize. I'm reading from a page I printed out and I lost my spot. Work tables are also considered a form of altars. Basically, it is a place where you do your spell work, and it is typically cleansed and protection is done to it daily in a ritualistic fashion. And it would have all of your stuff that you work with on it. There are altars for just specific deities. Some people only have one god or one goddess, or multiple gods or goddesses from different pantheons that they worship, and they might all be on one altar, or they might all have their own separate little altar. Typically with any altar, there will be some form of candles or incense or something. There's elemental altars where the elements are honored with earth, wind, fire, and such. Typically a little bowl of water for water. Sand or leaves or something of the sort representing earth or flowers or something. A candle for fire, and for air, typically it'd be some form of an incense. Even though ironically you're burning it, but it to represent air because of the smoke. There's also the spiritual shrine, for those who do divination. Typically their divination tools are on there. Their runes, their tarot cards, their scrying tools, their crystal ball, if they have or scrying mirror, or even people who read tea leaves. Some people have a specific cup, and they will put that on that altar. It's typically for those who do, divination, speak to the dead, that sort of thing. Some divination altars even have Ouija boards on it. There's also nature altars. Honestly, your garden can be a nature altar. It is a altar typically outdoors that have water, flowers, leaves, and such, showing gratitude to the earth and what it provides. Typically there is, not typically, but on occasion, there's some form of worshiping Gaia there, or some other earth-based god or goddess or whatnot. There's the personal altar. It changes and adjusts as the need arises for the person who made the altar. But all the same, no two altars are the same. Some people have major altars. They will turn their whole room into an altar. In parts of Asia, people will do ancestral altars where it is literally a shrine to all of their ancestors with bunches of candles and incense and things like that. It's been popularized in movies and things of that nature. But, I mean, it can be as big as a whole room that is your sacred workspace to as small as a candle on your nightstand or an incense stick on your nightstand. And there are even things such as travel altars where, 2-year-old, where you can literally take an Altoids tin, no sir. There's also the travel altars, which are essentially Altoids tins that have a candle and herbs and such for specific purposes, protection, money, health, different things, where you can take it with you and worship how you need, or whatever flowers or herbs or whatnot is good for that god or goddess. And I apologize, I'm fighting with a 2-year-old. But like I said, if someone tells you that your altar is wrong because it is not like theirs, they're the ones that's wrong. Your altar is supposed to work for you. It is not meant to please anyone else except for you and maybe your god or goddess that you worship, if that is what it is for, or your ancestors if that's what it's for. It does not have to be extravagant. You do not have to have statues. It is literally, in my opinion, your altar is your little sacred spot where you do your morning ritual. Where you light your incense in the morning or at night, or your candle in the morning or at night, and you thank your god or goddess or your ancestors or whoever it is, or you do your work. And that is really all it is. It's nothing super extreme. Now, on Saturday, we are going to do take 2 on the live. I might hop up live later in the week just to test to see if it is working. I'm going to try to do that to double check before Saturday. And next week, we are going to be working on different types of magic. The different forms of magic you use, like herbal, crystal, binding, glamour, elemental, those sorts of things. We're going to be looking at that next week. And hopefully the week after that, we will be working on how do you find your god or goddess. Not necessarily who is your god or goddess, but how you find your god or goddess. Because who is your god or goddess is a very personal thing. And if I were to go over every god and goddess from every pantheon, I could probably make a whole series on that alone. I mean, if you want it, tell me and I'll work on it. But, like I said, right now, we're working on the basics. Homework. Yeah, there's actually homework for once. In the chats, in the comments, if you're able to in the comments, send me pictures of your altars. I want to see what everyone is working with. I don't care if it's a little travel altar. I don't care if it's your little nightstand altar where you just have a candle that you light in the morning or at night, or light an incense at night. I don't care if it's extravagant. I don't care if it's tiny. In the comments, in the chats, let me see your altars. I think it would be fun to see, for everyone to see how everybody's altar is a little different. Mine is nothing extreme. Mine is very simple. It is both an altar for deities as well as a spell altar. I keep not a lot of, but what I consider my sacred tools there. I keep little animal figures that represent my goddesses and my other half's god. And I have a chalice, and I have we have like a little cups or bowls or whatever that we put offerings in, basically, for the individual gods and goddesses and things like that. And I keep my cauldron up there typically and things like that, my wand and all that. But like I said, it doesn't have to be extreme, doesn't have to be extravagant. Even if it is just a candle or an incense, that's okay. Even if it is just where you put the materials that you work with that are the most special to you, that is okay. Even if it's just a place to keep grimy little toddler hands off your important equipment, where once in a while you light a candle because you for some reason feel the need to, that is okay. That would be considered a work table, more so, in my opinion. I might be off, but it's always going to be what works for you. Not what looks the prettiest, not what works for everybody else. It's what works for you. Always remember that. All right. I would like to thank Jacksonville Witches Society for actually letting me start this class. I probably could have started it on my own, but Sweet Demina was wanting help, wanting group participation in things, and had more or less inspired me to do this in hopes of getting the group a little more active. If you were in the Jacksonville, Florida area, please look into Jacksonville Witches Society. They are on Facebook, and we will welcome you with open arms. We will help you find your home. And I'd also like to thank my brother for letting me share this over in the other group as well. He is the sweetest. I love him to death. And on that, please subscribe and like if you do like, comment, and I will see you hopefully on Saturday. Have a good one. Bye.